to welcome the reviewer for this morning. Chris Maduka joins us live this morning. Good to have you, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles. Good morning, the world, and I'm happy to be back here.
Indeed. Yeah. Thank God for life.
Yes, and it's interesting. A lot of interesting headlines.
Yes,
as interesting as Nigeria is today.
Nigeria is always interesting. Something to spike the social media, something to have us talk. First things first, we've seen how Rivers development is coming up. Pandev has gone to meet the president. I'm sure they have also put that warning that if he is removed, that Rivers State may not be peaceful. And then the president is saying, let him implement everything the Supreme Court has said. So it will seem like Wike is in bed with the president with all this while. What do you think?
Well, it's given. The Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is working for, who appointed him? He's working for the central government, APC. And even while he's still a card-carrying member of PDP, from all his body language, as a Nigerian politician, he's in bed with Jagaban, our Honorable President. That is given. Nothing has happened in the contrary to show us that he is not. But that's by the way. The Supreme Court gave what you call political order. They didn't give judgment. And this political order was handed down and they know where it's coming from. There was no judgment. They didn't refer to any judgment in the judgment. And the Supreme Court of Nigeria is deliberately building on keg of gunpowder. 36 states in Nigeria, Abuja is there. And they want to experiment with this in Rivers State. If it happens and takes, root, remember how people say, Alolo and Abaho, Obulo Mena. Once any, trick or things that are not normal last over time, it becomes a culture. The political culture of Nigeria, what is the offense of Fubara? What is their stake? Nobody wants to address that. Why is it? And people of Rivers State they really know where this is going and they've been shouting. Why is Pandev stepping in? What is the Supreme Court order that Fubara has not obeyed? It's also surprising to hear that for the first time, I'm hearing our president referring somebody to go and bear a court order. This is the first time. Because if it has happened one place, the president said, go obey court order. It happened here, he said, go obey. Are you changing the rule of Nigeria? Nigeria has not been obeying court orders. They're looking for who will tell them. Well, if it's going to start with Fubara, beautiful. And Fubara has not given any body language to show he's not going to implement Supreme Court. Now, if he implements Supreme Court order, remember that Rivers State is a state in Nigeria that have his own Attorney General and has a law structure. So after implementing Supreme Court, then they will activate the state law to implement. Then they will go back to Supreme Court to interpret. If the issue of Nigeria is you are an adult, Supreme Court, you sit down and see the children struggling over a plate of food, the best you can do is to carry the thing and run away. And not that you're running away to settle the issue. You just run away to one corner and start eating it up. What you are saying is that you cannot be trusted. It's not from my mouth you hear that Reverend Father is wearing kaftan, trousers under his kaftan. Supreme Court and all the honorable justices who are sitting over Nigeria at the Supreme Court. They should call back Nigerians and reinterpret, because what they have just handed over is political order. They didn't give judgment. There are judgments that you read, you will know that these are judgments that have references. Supreme Court has not changed to when you wake up, you give political order because somebody has told you to do that. They should look at it very well. They should look at it very well. And then when you want to separate a fight, do not allow it to degenerate into push before you start separating. This was building up. It was building up. And they saw where it was going to. But they stayed back. Now is the point you want somebody to probably bury the hatchet and then lick the wounds and then in the peace. Who has ever want to use his head to break coconut for a large number of people? Will the person be there when it's eating? Judgment is a simple, natural thing. Do unto others as you like them to do unto you. If it happened in your state and you are chief judge or you're justice of the Federal Supreme Court, is this what you want to be done? Look at it very well. It's okay. If we want to open our eyes and lay tracks filled with the boob traps and hoping that Nigeria will be better tomorrow, we are deceiving ourselves. We are deceiving ourselves. There's so clear case of somebody struggling to retain his power because somebody want to use all available power to pull power, and it's a struggle of power. So why are they going back now and say Supreme Court? What order has the Supreme Court given and Fubara has not? Probably the people who are more knowledgeable in law will tell us. They start pointing out all the court orders that Fubara has disobeyed, and then balance it with the court orders that the other side have not obeyed. And then we look at it and then say, you are wrong here, you're wrong here. But what is good for the geese is good for the gander. And this is not good. And the River State people are making statements and all. And people are still sweeping it under the ground. Pandev have gone to see the president. I don't know who they're next. They're waiting to go and see the president. Maybe those ones may not want to see the president. And you know what that means. So it's better the president begin to say some concrete things because the Supreme Court judgment and order has been difficult for the two sides to interpret. Maybe they bring them at a round corner and they start interpreting this law all over.
All right. Nemet is predicting intense heat in 19 states. I mean, I'm sure Enugu is part of it because
I saw the list of states. It's not more predicting. It's here. Charles, the heat wave is here and it's killing.
It is.
The Nemet advice said avoid 12 o'clock to 3. The worst thing is that the fans are blowing heat.
True.
I'm telling you, people are complaining. Children are. If you stay in a neighborhood where newborn children are crying continuously, you hearing cry. I don't know what the children are, how they are surviving, but the adults are not left out. The medical sector should watch out for meningitis.
Yeah, I mean, it's already here, in fact. I think in Kebbi State, like 26 persons were killed or so. And
that's it. You know, when the thing has spread to the southeast, south, you can imagine what it used to be in the northeast and northwest, where this heat wave has always been there. And then, you know, like Nigeria, when you carry the corpse of another man, it looks like you're carrying a log of wood. I think the whole Nigeria is now experiencing what our people in the northern part of Nigeria used to experience. But now, it's not without that touch of climate change everybody's talking about. The climate change is real. And I'm surprised that in the whole of issues we are talking about at the front burner in Nigeria, we hardly hear climate change. Probably we're waiting for USAID and Trump to come and do a institute program of climate change in Nigeria, as usual. The Igbo say, if climate change is the top burner in the whole of global agenda, and you as a country is worried about defections, interested in collecting people from other parties and cause confusion and not look at the future of the country you want to continuously rule. Maybe you wake up one day and find everybody smoking hot. Because People will be moving with, in fact, they will be moving inside bags of water. I don't know how we're going to do that, but I've been part of so many trainings talking about climate change, and they're talking about adaptation. There's no solution, it's about adaptation. And in Africa, everything is boiling down to planting back trees. In the name of development, I used to, as a kid, I use Enugu, where I am very close to talk about. You move around the streets of Enugu, you see those trees that the colonial masters planted around the whole place. Most of them are gone in the name of development. Most of people are buying over, building concrete jungles. I don't know where they're expecting the oxygen. I don't know where they're expecting things that will cool down the earth. And that's what the people, developed nations, has begun to experience so many years. And they're now wanting to use Africa, where you could still find some element of green nature, to solve. And that's why I said, that's why we are paying higher for our carbon, the fuel we are burning here. That's part of it. Because they don't want you to burn fuel again. After they've burned fuel to develop their nation, they want Africa as a scapegoat to sacrifice for the world to be happy. But then, if that's the reality, we begin to adapt to it. How many people? What is the government program? They make tree planting a ceremony. During the United Nations date for planting trees, they make it a ceremony. Just some few things that you see our governors and people in a position of authority in glare of cameras going to plant one or two trees that the same climate will not allow to survive over time. And the same people around will just march over time, and they are gone. We are not serious. And it's going to be, we pay. Probably our children will pay even more than we are trying to pay. But that heat wave is real. And in Enugu now, it's difficult to, advise people to drink a lot of water and do so many things. But that's if you can afford the water and if the water is there.
Marketers project 800 naira a liter as imported petrol's cost drops. That's on the Punch, and then probably just put it together with anger over headers' deadly attacks in Ondo, Benue, Nasarawa, and 30 killed.
Nobody will talk about, let's start from the back, anger over headers' deadly attack. Nobody will be happy with when the headers keep attacking. And I know how you started and saying this is the beginning of planting season, and this attack has increased. Let me tell you, there is something my mind tells me that is beyond this. During the Nigerian Biafra Civil War, hunger was one of the strategies that was used to win the war. There was blockage. There were so many things that happened, and the war ended. Nigeria is fighting a deadly battle nobody is thinking about, and the terrorists are using that, and it has lasted for 20 years. You know what I mean? Now, they are now coming back at the beginning of planting season just to seal the coffin. And it's going to be very deadly. Before we go, for the fuel price coming at 800 naira and the oil for naira for crude contract being reviewed and all, the people tell us the truth and stop this. If the price of refined petroleum in Nigeria did not come back to 200 naira, everything they are telling us is a lie. And now they find themselves in the midst of their own lives. They are struggling. If the cost of importing becomes smaller than the cost of producing in Nigeria, there's a lie ab initio that nobody has told us. So let them sort themselves out. What we are watching is the back end. How much will we go to any filling station, downstream sector, and buy fuel? Until that is done, everything they're talking about is Oyibo, and is all laced with lies that the oil and gas controllers in Nigeria have not told us the truth. So they keep deceiving themselves. But one day, God, in his infinite mercy, will visit them. God bless Nigeria.
All right, let's leave it there. Chris Maduka giving us fantastic insights into the headlines on our dailies this morning. We're back shortly after this. Do stay with us.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.